Most people spend their entire lives trying to be accepted. They hide their real thoughts, fake their emotions, and wear different masks just to survive socially. But what if society secretly rewards people who are cold, emotionally detached, and impossible to control? What if the painful experiences you went through were never meaningless, but were slowly teaching you the darkest truths about human nature? Niccolò Machiavelli believed people hide their true intentions behind social masks. Arthur Schopenhauer believed suffering changes the way you see reality itself. And Democritus believed real peace comes when you stop needing validation from others. In this video, you'll learn 7 dark life lessons society never wants you to fully understand. Because once you understand them, you stop seeing the world the same way again. If you enjoy deep psychological videos about human nature, power, and self-control, subscribe to the channel and comment below. See beyond masks. Let's begin. One of the darkest truths about human nature is this: the more desperate you are to be liked, the less people truly respect you. And most people learn this lesson far too late. Think about it for a second. Have you ever noticed how some people spend their entire lives trying to make everyone happy? They say yes to things they hate. They stay quiet when they should speak. They laugh at jokes that aren't even funny, and little by little, they slowly lose themselves. Society actually teaches people to behave this way from childhood. Be nice. Don't upset people. Make everyone proud. Being respectful matters. But there's a huge difference between being a good person and becoming emotionally dependent on other people's approval. Because once people realize your happiness depends on being accepted, they quietly gain control over you. Some will use guilt, some will use rejection, some will suddenly go cold just to see how far you're willing to chase them. And the scary part is, most of this happens without a single word being said. Nobody walks into your life and says, "Hey, I'm going to manipulate your emotions now." Human psychology doesn't work that way. People test limits naturally, quietly, almost by instinct. That's why Niccolò Machiavelli believed human beings often hide their true intentions behind everyday social behavior. Someone can smile at your face while privately benefiting from your insecurity. You can see this everywhere. At work, the employee who constantly needs validation usually gets overlooked. But the calm person who carries themselves with self-respect tends to get taken more seriously. Even in social settings, people are drawn toward individuals who seem emotionally grounded and hard to rattle. It sounds unfair, but human beings tend to value what feels difficult to control. Now, this does not mean becoming cold-hearted or arrogant. Emotional independence is not about hating people or pushing them away. It's about no longer losing yourself just to keep people comfortable. Because the moment you stop chasing approval, something shifts inside you. You speak more honestly. You stop over-explaining your decisions. You stop panicking when someone doesn't like you. And the people who once ignored you, they often start paying attention the moment you stop needing theirs. There's a reason a cat gets more attention in a room full of people than a dog working hard for every reaction. The cat doesn't beg, doesn't perform, doesn't need anything from anyone. And somehow, that becomes magnetic. A lot of people live their whole lives like that friendly dog, always chasing, always proving, always waiting for permission to feel good about themselves. Democritus believed peace begins when your sense of self-worth no longer depends on the crowd around you. That's one of the most freeing things a person can finally accept. Because once you stop needing everyone to approve of you, you start acting like your actual self. And that is exactly when people realize they can no longer reach you emotionally without your permission. Most people believe honesty automatically creates safety. So they overshare everything: their fears, their insecurities, their future plans, their emotional weak spots. And at first, it feels harmless. Sometimes people even encourage it. Come on, you can trust me. You can tell me anything. I would never use that against you. But life has a way of teaching people a painful lesson later. Not everybody who listens to you actually cares about you. Some people listen to understand you. Others listen to study you. That's a dark difference most people fail to notice until it's already too late. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this deeply. He believed human beings naturally observe weaknesses, desires, and emotional patterns because information creates power. And you can see this play out in real life all the time. Think about arguments between people who were once close. Private insecurities suddenly get used as weapons. Weak moments from years ago get thrown back in your face. It happens in friendships, relationships, families, even offices. That's why emotionally intelligent people become more careful with what they share and who they share it with. There's an old saying, "Loose lips sink ships." It became popular during wartime. Careless talking could destroy entire missions because enemies were always listening. But it applies to ordinary life too. The wrong person, knowing too much about your fears or emotional patterns, can quietly damage your confidence, reputation, or peace of mind in ways you won't even see coming. This doesn't mean you should never trust anyone. People need real connection. People need honest conversations. But there's a difference between meaningful vulnerability and emotional carelessness. Some people share their entire life story with someone they just met. Then they're shocked when that same person vanishes, turns on them, or suddenly acts different. And honestly, part of growing older is realizing that not everybody deserves full access to you. Arthur Schopenhauer believed suffering changes the lens through which people see the world. And one real betrayal can permanently change the way someone handles trust. You start watching more carefully. You become more observant. You stop talking just to fill the silence. And that silence itself becomes a kind of power. Because the person who's constantly talking usually reveals their emotional state first. Meanwhile, the quiet one in the room is picking up on everything. That's why emotionally disciplined people don't rush to explain themselves at every turn. Not every opinion deserves a reaction. Not every feeling needs to be announced to a crowd. And not every person deserves access to your inner world. People naturally associate self-control with strength. It's just human psychology. Modern life makes this harder. People are pushed to post everything, every emotion, every rough night, every private moment, like their inner life is public entertainment. Then they wonder why they feel mentally drained all the time. Democritus believed inner peace comes from within, not from constant outside attention. Some things in your life become stronger the moment you stop putting them on display. Because the less people know about how to emotionally reach you, the harder it becomes to move you without your consent. Power doesn't always change people. Sometimes it simply removes the mask they were wearing all along. A person can act completely humble for years when they have no control, no influence, and no advantage over others. But the moment they gain status, money, authority, or attention, a completely different version appears. And most people have experienced this at least once. Maybe it was a friend who became arrogant after finding success. Maybe it was a manager who started treating people badly once they got authority at work. Or maybe it was someone who was only kind when they needed something from you. Words alone mean almost nothing when it comes to reading people. Anybody can sound loyal. Anybody can pretend to care. Anybody can appear humble when things are hard. The real test begins the moment a person has leverage over someone else. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this clearly. He believed people often reshape their personality based on what benefits them socially or politically at any given moment. And you can see proof of this everywhere. Look at how the same person can speak warmly to someone powerful, then turn around and disrespect someone they feel superior to 5 minutes later. That kind of behavior tells you more about who someone really is than almost anything they could say out loud. Power exposes priorities. It shows how a person behaves when there are no real consequences for being their worst self. The scary part is that many people don't catch this pattern until it personally hurts them. Someone can be generous and present while they need your support, then disappear completely once they no longer benefit from the relationship. Human beings are complicated like that. A lot of social behavior runs on self-interest, even when people won't admit it. Real loyalty absolutely exists. But assuming everyone has pure intentions is one of the fastest paths to real disappointment. Arthur Schopenhauer believed suffering forces people to see human nature more clearly, without the emotional filter of wishful thinking. And honestly, painful experience tends to sharpen observation. You start noticing patterns instead of just accepting promises. You notice who shifts their energy depending on who's in the room. You notice who only reaches out when they need something. Power also has a way of amplifying insecurity. A deeply insecure person with a little bit of authority can become controlling fast, because having power over others fills a gap inside them that confidence never did. A genuinely secure person usually doesn't need to prove dominance. They don't need to remind people of their position. They just act from it quietly. That difference matters more than most people realize. One of the sharpest things you can do is quietly observe how people treat those below them. Watch how someone talks to a waiter, to an employee, to a stranger who can't offer them anything. That version of them is usually the real one. Democritus believed inner character matters more than public image. And in a world where appearances can be carefully managed, that idea becomes critical. Social media lets people build flawless-looking identities. But character eventually leaks through behavior. It always does. That's why emotionally sharp people stop judging others purely by charm, confidence, or polished words. They watch what people do over time, because eventually power removes the performance. And when it does, you finally see who was standing there the whole time. Being a good person does not automatically protect you from pain. In fact, sometimes the kindest people get hurt the most first. Why? Because many good-hearted people grow up believing the world operates fairly. They believe honesty will always be appreciated. They believe loyalty will be returned. They believe hard work guarantees respect. Then reality hits them hard. They find out some people lie without any guilt. Some people take advantage of kindness specifically because it's kind. Some people act caring only for as long as it serves them. And that realization changes people, not because they turn cold, but because a certain kind of innocence just doesn't survive that contact with the truth. Arthur Schopenhauer believed suffering forces human beings to face uncomfortable realities about the world and the people in it. Life has a brutal way of educating through disappointment. A person can spend years trusting too easily, until one serious betrayal rewires how they see people for good. Modern society often mistakes kindness for weakness. The quiet person gets ignored. The reliable worker gets buried under extra responsibility, while people who cut corners somehow float right past accountability. You can see this in everyday social situations too. The nicest person in a group often becomes everyone's emotional outlet because people assume they'll absorb it and say nothing. They expect endless patience because that's what's always been offered. That's why emotional limits become necessary, not to become cruel, but to survive without being constantly drained by people who don't think twice about taking. There's an old saying, "Good fences make good neighbors." It sounds odd at first. Why would physical distance improve a relationship? But the meaning goes deeper. Clear boundaries prevent unnecessary conflict. When people understand your limits, respect has room to grow. Without limits, many people keep pushing simply because nothing stops them. It's not always malicious. It's just how human behavior works when there are no consequences. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that how you present yourself shapes how people treat you. If you appear unable or unwilling to protect your time, energy, or dignity, certain people will quietly take advantage of that opening. And many adults struggle with this privately. They feel guilty saying no. They apologize too often. They sacrifice their own peace to avoid disappointing someone else. Eventually, they run completely empty. Not because life broke them, but because they kept giving without ever protecting what little was left. The moment you finally create a limit, you'll often hear from the same person who ignored your well-being for years. You've changed. Yes, people have to change sometimes to protect what matters to them. Growing emotionally stronger often means getting comfortable disappointing certain people. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your energy. That's not selfishness. That's self-awareness. A lot of people were raised to believe self-sacrifice equals goodness, but constant self-neglect isn't maturity. It's emotional exhaustion wearing a polite expression. Democritus believed peace comes from inner balance, not from endlessly seeking approval from the outside world. You can be compassionate without allowing disrespect. You can genuinely care about people without tolerating manipulation. You can stay kind while still protecting your own mental space. Because if you never learn to hold your ground emotionally, life will keep presenting the same situation until you finally do. Many people would rather feel emotionally trapped than face being alone. Some people stay in toxic friendships for years. Some stay in relationships that slowly chip away at their confidence. Some keep people around who clearly don't value them, not because things are good, but because the silence feels worse. Not because they're happy, not because they feel respected, but because loneliness scares them more than the damage being done. Society quietly feeds this fear all the time. If someone spends time alone, people treat it like a warning sign. Are you okay? Why are you always by yourself? Don't you get lonely? But almost nobody asks the more important question. What actually happens to someone who constantly surrounds themselves with the wrong people just to avoid being alone? That kind of environment drains a person slowly from the inside in ways that take years to fully notice. Arthur Schopenhauer believed many people keep themselves endlessly busy with social noise because silence forces them to sit with uncomfortable thoughts about themselves and their lives. And honestly, that rings true. Solitude feels strange at first. No constant noise, no attention, no emotional chaos to keep your mind occupied. Just you and whatever thoughts you've been avoiding. That's why some people are always texting, always scrolling, always needing company. The moment things go quiet, something uncomfortable surfaces immediately. But something interesting happens when a person finally learns to be alone without it feeling like punishment. Their thinking gets clearer. They stop making decisions out of fear or desperation. They stop accepting treatment they should have walked away from long ago. And they start noticing which relationships actually bring them peace versus which ones just fill space. That kind of awareness changes everything. Because people who fear being alone are far easier to manipulate emotionally. They accept things they should reject. They chase people who barely think about them. They ignore obvious warning signs because losing the connection feels more terrifying than the damage staying causes. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that emotional dependency weakens judgment. When someone becomes desperate to hold on to certain people, they become very easy to influence, because the other person knows leaving is off the table. Modern life makes this even harder to escape. People are surrounded by constant digital noise now. Notifications, messages, short videos, endless scrolling. Society seems almost allergic to silence at this point. Some people can't sit in a room alone for 7 minutes without reaching for their phone. That's not boredom. That's an inability to be with oneself. When someone can't enjoy their own company, they depend on others to create their identity, purpose, or sense of worth for them. That's an enormous weight to place on another person, and it quietly destroys relationships over time. No single human being can permanently fill an emptiness that someone refuses to face on their own. Democritus believed inner calm comes from mastering yourself, rather than relying on external distractions to feel okay. Being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. A person can stand in a room full of people and feel completely disconnected, and another person can sit quietly by themselves and feel entirely at peace. Once you become genuinely comfortable with solitude, something shifts. You stop reaching for connection out of desperation. You stop holding on to relationships that damage your spirit just because empty feels worse. You stop settling for half-hearted loyalty from people who stay only when it's convenient. And somehow, people respect that. Not because you performed confidence, but because emotional independence has a quiet weight to it that most people notice without being able to name it. That kind of freedom is rare, and it starts the moment you decide being alone for a while is better than being with the wrong people indefinitely. Many people are not living by real choice. They are living by programming. From childhood, most people are quietly taught what success is supposed to look like. Study hard, get approval, follow the crowd, don't stand out too much, work constantly, stay busy. Repeat the same pattern for decades, and for a long time, most people never stop to ask themselves one simple question: do I actually want this life? That question terrifies people more than they admit, because the moment someone genuinely starts questioning what society expects of them, their entire sense of identity can start to crack open. Arthur Schopenhauer believed many individuals spend their lives buried in distraction because deep self-reflection is uncomfortable. Looking honestly at your own life takes courage most people haven't been taught to build, and modern life is structured almost perfectly to prevent it. Constant entertainment, constant opinion, constant comparison, endless noise. The average person wakes up, checks their phone immediately, absorbs low-grade stress all day, then numbs out with mindless scrolling at night. Some people know their delivery app preferences better than they know their own values. And that's not funny, that's a slow disappearance of the self. When people never slow down mentally, they rarely stop to ask whether their habits, relationships, or daily goals are actually making them feel fulfilled. They just keep following the patterns they inherited from parents, from peers, from a culture that rewards busyness and punishes stillness. Niccolò Machiavelli understood how powerfully social pressure shapes individual behavior. Most people fear being rejected by the group more than they fear living an unfulfilling life. So they conform even when something deep inside them keeps saying, "This doesn't feel right." You see this everywhere. People stay in careers they quietly despise because the paycheck earns social praise. People perform lifestyles that exhaust them because everyone around them seems to want the same thing. Some people reshape their entire personality based on trends just to stay accepted, and many never realize how far they've drifted from who they actually are. That's why certain moments hit people so hard. Sometimes it's failure that wakes someone up. Sometimes it's loss. Sometimes it's just a quiet Tuesday afternoon where nothing is happening and they suddenly think, "Is this really it?" And that moment, uncomfortable as it is, can be the most important thing that ever happened to them. Because once you start thinking for yourself, society becomes harder to follow without noticing the strings attached. You start seeing how many conversations are performances, how many people are chasing appearances they don't even want, how many people are spending their energy looking successful on the outside while quietly falling apart at home. Democritus believed lasting happiness grows from internal stability, not external performance. And in a world that rewards spectacle over substance, that idea feels almost radical. Real clarity doesn't live inside noise. It shows up in stillness, in honest reflection, in the moments when nobody else is telling you who to be or what to want. Independent thinkers become difficult to herd. They stop copying the crowd reflexively. They stop treating status as a substitute for meaning, and they stop sacrificing their inner peace to fit inside structures that never actually cared about their happiness. Once you see how much of daily life runs on unconscious imitation, you can't unsee it, and that changes you in quiet, permanent ways. Being misunderstood is just part of living an honest life. Not everyone will understand your mindset. Not everyone will understand your silence. Not everyone will understand why you changed, pulled back, or chose differently. And that's okay. A lot of emotional suffering comes from trying to explain yourself to people who have already decided how they want to see you. Some will misread your limits and call you cold. Some will misread your independence and call you distant. Some will misread your confidence and call you arrogant. People naturally judge what they don't fully understand. That's not a flaw unique to bad people. It's just how human perception works. And many people spend years exhausting themselves, trying to correct every opinion someone else has formed about them. But life eventually teaches something worth holding on to. You cannot control how other people interpret you. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that public image is unstable because people filter other people's behavior through their own emotions, insecurities, and personal history. A calm person gets labeled emotionless. A quiet person gets assumed weak. A focused person gets accused of not caring about others. People read you through their own lens, not yours. That's not something you can fix with more explaining. Arthur Schopenhauer believed that complete understanding between two people is genuinely difficult, maybe impossible, because each person experiences reality through their own personal filter. Two people can live through the exact same moment and walk away with completely different versions of what happened. That's why emotional maturity matters so much. Mature people understand that disagreement doesn't mean hatred, that being misread doesn't mean you did something wrong, that silence is sometimes more dignified than a defense. Democritus believed real peace comes from internal balance, not from collecting enough outside approval to finally feel okay. You don't need universal understanding to live a meaningful life. You don't need to be correctly interpreted by everyone who crosses your path. Peace often starts the moment you stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every criticism deserves an emotional response. And not every opinion someone holds about you deserves access to your sense of self-worth. People will form stories about you in their minds regardless. That's going to happen whether you like it or not. But you get to decide whether those stories have any real power over how you feel. One of the strongest things a person can carry internally is this quiet understanding. They don't have to get it for me to keep moving forward. That kind of calm doesn't shout. It doesn't perform. It doesn't need to be validated. It just moves, steadily, clearly, without the extra weight of everyone else's perceptions dragging behind it. And in many ways, learning to carry yourself that way may be the darkest but most liberating lesson of all. The strange thing about life is that most people never truly question the world around them until pain forces the issue. Sometimes betrayal teaches more than loyalty ever could. Sometimes silence reveals more than words, and sometimes the darkest lessons are the ones that finally open your eyes to what was always there. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that human beings wear social masks to survive. Arthur Schopenhauer believed suffering reshapes how people see reality, and Democritus believed real peace begins inside, not through the approval of crowds. That's what this entire video was really about. Not becoming cold, not becoming heartless, but becoming awake. Awake to manipulation, awake to emotional dependency, awake to fake appearances, awake to the quiet psychological games that run underneath normal everyday life. Because once you start understanding human nature more honestly, you stop walking through life with your eyes closed. You get calmer, more observant, more careful about who gets access to your energy and your inner world. And little by little, you stop handing your peace away so easily. That kind of awareness is not something you can unknow once you have it. So, if this video made you think differently for even a moment, like the video and share it with someone who needs to hear these lessons too. If you enjoy videos about psychology, human behavior, power, and emotional self-control, subscribe to the channel and become part of this community. Comment below. Awakened minds see deeper. I really want to know which lessons stayed with you the most. And remember this, the world looks completely different once you stop seeing people only for who they pretend to be and start noticing the patterns running quietly underneath. Until next time, protect your mind, protect your peace, and never stop questioning the masks people wear.